it seems like a warning from the universe, right? It's that we're all so vulnerable, and I think that that's what we have to take away from that experience is that, we have to be careful. Everybody does that.
What if I told you that one of the most photographed women in the world, a global supermodel who redefined high fashion, has been quietly fighting a disease that no runway, no photo shoot, and no amount of fame could ever cover up? Because that's exactly what Bella Hadid's life has been. To millions of people, she's the epitome of glamour, the flawless face of Dior, the icon who shut down Paris Fashion Week when a spray-on dress was literally created on her body, the it girl who seemed untouchable. But behind that curated image is a story most fans only began to understand in glimpses, a story of exhaustion, hidden tears, and hospital rooms. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't just about Bella. This is about her family, the internet, and a disease that has haunted them for more than a decade. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on Bella Hadid's journey, the sacrifices, the controversies, and the resilience that made her not just a supermodel, but a survivor. But before we get there, let's start with what the cameras never showed. To the world, Bella is one of the most visible models alive. She's walked for Dior, Versace, Fendi, Marc Jacobs, the list goes on. She's on magazine covers, ad campaigns, and viral moments that get replayed millions of times. But what the public doesn't see is the price she's paid just to get out the door. Behind the makeup and designer gowns are mornings where even standing feels impossible. Nights when bone-deep pain leaves her restless. Days when brain fog makes it impossible to form sentences. And all of that while pretending nothing's wrong in front of flashing cameras. She once admitted that some days, she couldn't even muster the energy to leave her room. The world would see the red carpets, but never the tears that came hours before. They saw the perfect image, but not the pain behind her eyes. It's this disconnect between the glamorous exterior and the hidden battles that makes her story so powerful. But the truth is, Bella's life wasn't always about runways and spotlights. Her first dream was stolen before her modeling career even began. Before she was Bella Hadid, supermodel, she was just Bella, a teenager whose life revolved around horses. She dreamed of being a professional equestrian, and she wasn't just good. She was on track to compete at an Olympic level. Horses were her escape, her love, her entire future. Then, at just 16 years old, everything changed. Bella was diagnosed with chronic neurological Lyme disease, an illness that isn't just about aches and pains. It's about living inside a body that suddenly doesn't function the way it used to. Almost overnight, her equestrian dreams were gone. She had to quit riding, give up competitions, and accept a future completely different from the one she envisioned. She later admitted the heartbreak was overwhelming. The horses weren't just a sport, they were her identity. And when she could no longer ride, it felt like she'd lost the biggest part of herself. That loss forced her to pivot. Modeling, which had always been a possibility because of her looks and family connections, became a career path. But for Bella, it wasn't a dream, it was survival. And if losing her dream wasn't enough, she would soon realize she wasn't the only Hadid fighting this invisible enemy. Lyme disease didn't just target Bella, it went after her family. Her mom, Yolanda Hadid, was diagnosed first, then Bella, then her younger brother, Anwar. 3 members of the same family, all living with the same debilitating condition. For most families, the Hadids look like the picture of success: luxury homes, red carpet appearances, international fame. But inside their private world, there were days filled with 4 treatments, hospital visits, and endless questions about whether things would ever get better. Yolanda herself once spoke at a Global Lyme Alliance event, saying it brought her the deepest hopelessness to know her children were suffering in silence just to support her. Think about that. A mother realizing her son and daughter inherited her own pain. It wasn't just her illness anymore. It was theirs, too. But even in this shared pain, there was strength. Their bond grew tighter because they truly understood one another's struggle. When the outside world judged Bella by how good she looked, her family knew the truth. That survival was its own kind of victory. But as close as they were, even family support couldn't shield Bella from one of the harshest battles of all: public opinion. In an attempt to raise awareness and show the reality of Bella's fight, Yolanda began posting photos of her daughter in the hospital. These weren't glamorous shots. They showed Bella hooked up to IVs, pale and vulnerable. To Yolanda, this was about honesty, about proving that behind the magazine covers, her daughter was still just a young woman in pain. But online, the backlash was immediate. Some fans accused her of crossing a line, exposing Bella's most private moments without her consent. Tweets went viral, posting 200 pictures of her in the hospital from every angle is gross. She's happy to be sick. Others accused Yolanda of attention-seeking behavior, turning Bella's suffering into an aesthetic. Not everyone agreed, of course. Some defended Yolanda, saying it was important to show what Lyme disease really looks like. But the damage was done. The internet had turned Bella's private suffering into a public debate about motherhood, privacy, and exploitation. And while thousands argued online, Bella herself remained silent because she was still busy fighting for her life. In 2023, Bella gave fans the update they had been waiting for. After over 100 days of treatment, she announced that for the first time in years, she felt healthy. She described it as finally being able to recognize herself again. The internet erupted in joy. Gigi Hadid, her sister, posted her excitement about Bella's comeback. Fans saw hope for a future where Bella wouldn't have to constantly hide her pain. But Lyme disease is unpredictable. And just 2 years later, Bella was back in the hospital. The treatments hadn't cured her. They only bought her time. That's the brutal truth of this illness. It doesn't disappear after one breakthrough. It lurks, it returns, and it forces patients to start the battle all over again. For Bella, it meant living in cycles of progress and relapse. A treadmill walk one day, and forward drip the next. A moment of hope, followed by another setback. And through it all, she somehow maintained her career at the very top of fashion. Bella's rise in fashion wasn't just impressive, it was impossible. Signed with IMG Models in 2014, she immediately became a name to watch. By 2016, she was already the face of Dior beauty. Vogue covers, international runways, high fashion campaigns, she was everywhere. And then came 2023, the moment that made her unforgettable. The Coperni show in Paris, when a dress was spray painted directly onto her body in real time. That moment went viral globally, instantly cementing her as not just a model, but a cultural phenomenon. But here's the part the fashion industry rarely acknowledged. Bella was achieving all of this while sick. Every campaign, every show, every interview, she was doing it while battling brain fog, pain, and exhaustion that most people couldn't even imagine. Her success wasn't just talent, it was resilience. And yet, resilience has its limits. By 2024, Bella finally made a choice that shocked the industry. She stepped away from modeling, not because she couldn't get jobs, she was still one of the most in-demand models alive, but because her health demanded it. She couldn't keep pretending the illness wasn't running her life. Instead, she turned her energy to something new, her fragrance line, Bella. A project that didn't depend on her being in front of the camera, but still allowed her creativity and influence to shine. Launching Bella was more than a business move. It was a statement. Bella was telling the world, I'm more than a model. I'm more than my illness, and I'm choosing me. But even with this new chapter, the fight isn't over. Bella Hadid's story is one of contrasts. To the world, she's a fashion icon. To herself, she's a warrior. To her family, she's part of a legacy of survival. Her journey raises bigger questions than just health updates. How do we balance awareness with privacy in the age of social media? How much of someone's suffering should be public? And most of all, what does it truly mean to succeed when your body is working against you? Because Bella's story isn't just about runways or fragrance lines. It's about resilience. It's about sacrifice. It's about proving that strength doesn't always mean looking flawless. Sometimes it just means making it through the day. And as fans continue to watch her next steps, one haunting question remains. Will Bella Hadid ever beat Lyme disease? Or is this a fight she'll be carrying for the rest of her life?